name's Marc Farzetta, and I just have to say thank you. This is a special edition of the Farzy Show today. We do have some sports conversation, but the main reason we're doing this special edition of the Farzy Show about 48 hours after my wife and I were blessed with our second kid is to say thank you. It really is amazing. We have personal relationships, you and I. We have conversations every day, whether you're screaming at your YouTube or your Twitter, or you're nodding along with the show, or hopefully, smiling, laughing, having a good time as we try to do on the show. There's a relationship, and you never know who you touch. You never know who you come in contact with in the digital form of media, obviously. But everybody that has reached out to me just to say congratulations, I just want to say thank you. It's the number one reason we're doing the show today. And I know we put out a GIF yesterday on our social media account, on the social media account of the show, the at Farzy Show on Twitter. And some people thought that was my kid. That wasn't my kid. That's just a very popular GIF of a baby that's out and about in social media. But this is my kid, ladies and gentlemen. That is Leonardo Lou Farzetta. Leonardo is a name my wife just really, really liked. And I was like, oh, it's Italian. Yeah, I'll go with that. And we know our oldest daughter, or our oldest child now, my daughter, Emanuela. You can't have an Emanuela and then have like a Tim or a Hank. You know what I mean? If you go ethnic first name, you kind of got to go with the ethnic name of the second kid as well. So this is Leonardo Lou. There he is. I haven't tweeted these pictures out yet. I wanted you guys to see him first, again, because of that relationship that you and I have. Here he is, full length. I swear this is the exact same kid as my first kid. They look exactly the same. It's nuts. I was taking pictures in the hospital, and as I'm like about to take a picture, I'm looking at my phone, and I'm like, I already have this picture on my phone. And it's like, no, that was 2.5 years ago when we had Emanuela. This is Leo. And then, as far as I'm concerned, folks, this is the single greatest picture on my phone. This is Emanuela, or some of you guys know as Lil Toots, feeding her baby brother, Leo Lou. So that's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life, right there. For those that haven't seen this or not seeing this right now, or just listening on the podcast, I'll be tweeting these pictures out a little bit later today with as well as a thank you, and also a shout out to my old friend Steve Trevelise of WIP, also New Jersey 104.5, who gave us a shout out yesterday on the radio, which was cool. But that's Emanuela feeding Leonardo right there. And that's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. So thank you for all the people that reached out, and just to say, blessings to my wife and me and my two kids now. And thank everybody at Penn Hospital who were just amazing with us. As they were the last time, they were amazing with us again this time. So I can't thank you guys enough. I just hope this. I hope that Leonardo Lou grows up in a world where Joel Embiid is MVP. I want him to know a world where Joel Embiid is MVP. Emanuela doesn't know the whole world without with Joel Embiid being an MVP. I'd like Leo to know that. I'd like him to know what's kind of going on there. So I'm a proud father of two. It's pretty awesome. To all the soon-to-be dads out there, it's the greatest thing ever. And if you're going to have your second kid, if you're about to do that, and you might be thinking to yourself, wow, how do I do this? How do I do two? Right? Can I possibly do that? I talked to Marc Zumoff about this off the air the last time we talked a couple of weeks ago. And he goes, as a parent, you think to yourself, oh, how could I possibly love something as much? And you do. It just happens. Or how are we going to go from a party of 3 to a party of 4? And you do. And it's amazing. It's the greatest thing ever. And I didn't think I'd be able to experience the greatest feeling of my life twice. And I have. It's the single greatest thing ever. And I always tell people this: early fatherhood isn't fun, but it's the most joyous thing you'll ever do. I always tell people it's the greatest joy a man can experience while having zero fun. Like, nobody's planning a bachelor party being like, hey guys, I know what we can do to get crazy. Let's raise some kids. And the guys are like, yeah. Like, that doesn't happen. But like, I was changing my kid's diaper, both of them, I might add. And I'm just thinking to myself, there's no place in the world I'd rather be. This is where I should be. This is where I need to be. It's the greatest thing ever. So I come before you today, a very humble man, a very humble and happy family man. But I didn't want to, just sidestep the show The show's going to keep going. It might be more tape segments over the next week or so that we do this as we get settled in as a family. But I want to make sure I came to you guys at least live today to say thank you for following the show, following me both professionally and personally. And thank you for the congrats and all the well wishes you guys have sent out to just not just me, but my champion of a wife, Celeste, who is just incredible as a mom, just absolutely incredible. I'm really glad my old friend Jamie Lynch told me to play softball with him and his buddies. And that's where I met my wife. And now we got 2 kids. So life's good, man. Life's good. Life is also good in a much different way. As I've been saying throughout this entire time, because Joel Embiid is a member of the Philadelphia 76ers. And it's good to see Tobias Harris hitting his shot. I was in the hospital. I'm watching the game on my phone. I'm checking in on my wife. You good? You good? Okay. All right. I'm laying on the sofa. She's like going into labor. She's like, do I need to get anybody yet? Do I need to get anybody? No, you're fine. Okay, cool. And she's watching like Friends on her little laptop. I'm watching the Sixers. We're just, trying to live life as best we can. And I am just amazed by Joel Embiid's performance every single night. And what was so amazing about last night was that he didn't have his best game. And I felt like we were almost talking about Joel Embiid. And he still dropped, 28 points, 25 points 26 points last night. And I feel like we talk about Joel Embiid. We can talk about him like he's a starting pitcher in baseball. It's like he didn't have his best stuff, but, man, he really gutted out 6 innings, 7 innings, whatever. But he didn't have his best stuff, but, man, he really gutted it out. Last night, Joel Embiid didn't have his best stuff, and he still gutted out a great performance, still set up his team. 7 assists for him, 10 assists for Tyrese Maxey. We'll get to him in a second. But Joel Embiid was just absolutely incredible last night with how he was setting up his teammates. And I think the best example of that was about 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. He gets the ball a little bit outside the block, far side of the screen if you're watching on TV. And he gets the ball a little bit outside the block. Lakers shift 2 defenders down on him. He steps back out of that trouble, pops a pass out to the top of the key to Furkan Korkmaz, who immediately swings it over to Tobias Harris, who hits a 3. Like, all that started because Joel Embiid was smart enough to not try to do too much with the basketball. That's veteran presence. When you see a team, and this was highlighted by Doc Rivers after the game, and I think it's one of the best things he said all season. We've highlighted some of the things he said this season that haven't been so great. But he said last night that Joel Embiid's leadership has really helped this Sixers team overcome all the noise that has been started up by Ben Simmons and the Ben Simmons camp. Joel Embiid's leadership, his play on the court obviously has certainly lended itself to that as well. But watching Joel Embiid do what he did last night and watching him do what he's done throughout this entire season as far as being a leader on this team has been remarkable. And one of the things that I was really impressed with last night, this kind of just dawned on me. Even with Ben Simmons here and Joel Embiid here, the leader of this team had been Jimmy Butler. The leader of this team had been Tobias Harris. But this year, Joel Embiid has become that leader for the 76ers. With Ben stepping aside, with Tobias Harris struggling and going through his own issues, Joel Embiid has stepped up, not just as an MVP candidate this year, but has stepped up as a veteran presence leader of this team. And a couple of years ago, I wouldn't be so sure that would happen. Can he be mature enough? Can he take his talent seriously enough to be able to get to this point? And he absolutely has. And it was amazing to listen last night before the game to Shaquille O'Neal talk about on the TNT broadcast just how mature Joel Embiid has become, just how much he has matured compared to his still technically teammate, Ben Simmons. And if you haven't heard this yet, here is Shaq on TNT last night before the game talking about Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and what he would do with this whole Ben Simmons situation. Take a listen to this.
I stay on big guys because I care about them. I want them to play a certain way. I want them to play at a certain level. Difference between him and his soft partner is he can take criticism without being a crybaby, and he still wants to play. Because me and Charles, we've been on him. We stay on him. We tell him to his face what he needs to do. He didn't cry. He didn't say, I want to be traded. He didn't, complain about mistreatment. And that's the difference. That's why I like and respect him. The other guy I don't respect. I've been thinking about it. You're missing the whole season because they asked your coach a question, can we win without you? And your coach gave a funny answer. That should tell you need to get in the summertime and work on your game. You don't think I haven't been criticized by you guys and Stephen A? You don't think I haven't been criticized by LA media, New York media? Great players get criticized, but the great players also step up to the criticism and perform. So this other guy, I don't respect.
this is exactly what we were getting into on when the hell was I here last? It's been about 3 years since I've done a show. That's what it feels like. This is what we were talking about on Monday. The thing that's so amazing about Joel Embiid is that we criticized Joel Embiid. We still loved Joel Embiid. We still loved Joel Embiid. We still applauded Joel Embiid. We still praised Joel Embiid. But we also talked about the things that weren't so great. The maturity being one of them, being in shape, the diet, seeing him eat cheeseburgers before the game. What the hell is that? Like that's all stuff that that's all stuff that we wanted to see kind of go away as his talent raised, as he got closer and closer to his full potential. Joel Embiid is the perfect case study for what we want in a Philadelphia athlete. When we recognize as a fan base or members of the media, and sometimes people like to ignore the fact that what the media wants and what the fan base wants are two of the like the same exact thing. There's sometimes this war between the two. No, it doesn't need to happen. But watching Joel Embiid, he's the perfect case study of what we want in our athletes in Philadelphia. We'll see. We're smart people, especially in the sport of basketball. I don't think there's a city in the country that knows basketball better than Philadelphia. With our heritage here, with the Big Five, the Sixers being here for as long as they've been, watching Will Chamberlain, Allen Iverson, Charles Barkley, all the greats that have played here. Like, we know basketball in this city. Kobe Bryant grew up here. Like, we know basketball here in Philadelphia. Watching a guy like Joel Embiid, or any athlete for that matter, when we know what the potential is, we only want to see you reach that potential. And that's why I always compare Philadelphia to the strict father more than a nurturing mother, if you will. Like, we don't just go juice boxes and orange peels after the game. We go, okay, well, that was good, but what happened? Like, what could we have done more? Maybe you won by a point. Why didn't you win by 10 points? We go to those things because it's not just about playing the opponent in front of you. It's about what that means when you play against those upper echelon opponents. And there was no LeBron James last night. AD missed a little bit of the time last night. He had a little bit of an injury, came back, played great. Russell Wilson, obviously on the back end of his career, but Russell Westbrook, on the back end of his career. But when you watch Joel Embiid, I think he is the perfect example of what we want in our athletes. We want a guy to realize how good he could be and then work his ass off to get that good. And every single year, you have watched Joel Embiid get better and better and better as a basketball player. And this year, without Ben Simmons and missing that key facilitator, as Joel Embiid himself even highlighted earlier in the week, he's got to be that facilitator at times. And last night, he did that to the tune of 7 assists. That's what you want to see from a leader, not just on the court, but a guy off the court looking to make his teammates better. And ultimately, how do we really decide whether or not somebody is a great player? Oh, is he a great player? Because great players make others around them better. And that's what Joel Embiid did, particularly last night. And that's what he's done throughout this season. If he's got to bring the ball up and facilitate, he brings the ball up and facilitate. It's still few and far between. He picks his spot, but he picks his spots very, very wisely and doesn't force anything. And again, with 6 minutes left in the third quarter, he didn't bring the ball up that time, but he was smart enough to realize that he was covered, he was doubled up, he backed up out of the pressure. He didn't force a shot. He didn't just try to get fouled and let the refs bail him out of anything. He saw Furkan Korkmaz, top of the key, hit him, swing pass over to Tobias Harris, who nailed that three. And that's really what you want from your players. If you're not going to have it going on any particular night, you want to be able to fall back and allow your teammates, put them in a good position to have success so this team can win a basketball game, and many as the season goes on. So that was what was so impressive about Joel Embiid last night. That's what's been so impressive about Joel Embiid throughout this season and really throughout his career, seeing him continue to improve every single day. And this has become, in honor of the late, great Kobe Bryant, it's become known as the Mamba mentality. Always trying to improve. What can I do next? Kobe Bryant, the thing I always go to with him, he obviously a good jump shooter, obviously could slash the lane, all that. But what did he say? Well, he didn't just stop at that great handle, great defender. He didn't stop at that. What else can I do? Oh, I can add that Jordan fadeaway to my game. Let me do that. Let me add that to my game. Let me add the three-point shot to my game. Let me do that. Always looking to get better. No matter how great you may be right now, how do I go from great to phenomenal? How do I go from phenomenal to all-time transcendent player? Like all that. And that's what I think Joel Embiid has, and that's why he's such a joy to watch in the NBA. Let me tell you about my friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers before I get to a couple of the headlines. Shorter show today. It's going to be a couple of short shows as obviously I take care of my family business. But let me tell you about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right in Philadelphia. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't get much more beautiful than this for Valentine's Day. It's going to be a nice Valentine's Day for Toots. Tell you that. She's got 2 kids now. Oh, I'm going to be taking care of mama. This will be the first gift right here. An Emerald City rose. 24 karat gold dip rose. Last a lifetime. Guaranteed. So make sure you take care of the missus. Make sure you take care of that special someone in your life with Steven Singer Jewelers. IHateStevenSinger.com. Get them right now while supplies last. Just $59. That's right. Just $59. Beautiful. Gold dip rose. It is gorgeous. Looking to get engaged over Valentine's Day? Hit up my man Steven Singer. We're every single day. You get the perfect price every day at Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price every day. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. I want to touch on this. Brandon Brooks. I've said many times that Chris Long is one of my all-time favorite athletes to ever cover in Philadelphia. Brandon Brooks is right up there for a whole bunch of reasons. He always embraced me. Like he I don't know what it was. We got along great. Whenever I was in the locker room doing a feature piece, he was always like, "Hey, what do you got for me today, Marc? What do we got? Mad ratings today? What do we got? My favorite color?" He'd break my stones, stuff like that. And he was always open with me and very honest with me. And he was like that he is like that as a person. What he went through with anxiety, he taught me so much. I don't really experience anxiety. I just don't get it. I grew up in a house where it wasn't an option. And that's not to sound like I didn't grow up in a compassionate household, but I can't identify. My wife, her family, that's something that it's a word that gets brought up a lot. And they talk about that a lot, but I never knew. I don't know. It was never an option in my house. So it was never something we talked about if we went through it. I definitely probably, my parents, my brother, my family, we've probably gone through it and we just never talked about it. But listening to somebody like Brandon Brooks highlight it and talk about it, and someone of his stature, someone of his job, an offensive lineman in football, to talk about how crippling it can be, opened my eyes like few things in my life have. He's one of the greatest right guards I've ever seen. He's one of the greatest offensive linemen I've ever seen. And this guy can move other men like nobody's business. But to listen to him talk about it and what he has done for those members of society that really go through that, I hope people's eyes have been opened up, if not as wider than mine. And I will always appreciate him. Like it was one of the first things where I kind of grew up thinking this one way, and then he was one person that just went, not so fast. Let me explain this for a second here. And I think a lot of people did what I did for the first time, which was, this is something I don't understand. Instead of just jumping to a judgment, let me listen for a second. Let me hear what this man's going through. And when he talked about it, and then he heard obviously Lane Johnson come out earlier in this year and talk about it and acknowledge it, and you've heard other people come out and talk about mental health and mental illness, and it is certainly something that has become a very big buzz phrase. It really catches people's attention. Whoever that might be, Simone Biles, for instance. Whenever you hear it mentioned, people kind of listen in and go, okay, what's going on here? Instead of shaming and instead of judging, it's more of, let me listen. And the phrase that has come out since then is, it's okay to not be okay. And for Brandon Brooks to at least start that conversation for us here in Philadelphia, I'll always be appreciative for his obviously bringing that conversation up, for his demeanor, for his presence here. And then he also helped the city win a Super Bowl. That was pretty awesome too. So he is one of my favorite people to have ever covered in Philadelphia. I wish him nothing but the best in retirement. Whatever he chooses to do next, he will be phenomenal at it because he's got the personality and the work ethic to do it. And I can understand after a guy going through 10 years in the NFL and another injury, I get how that could be daunting looking down the road at another rehab. So I want to give him all the credit in the world, credit where credit is due, and show my appreciation to Brandon Brooks and all that he was able to do for people in Philadelphia, both as a football player and as a human being. So Brandon, here's to you, my friend. Something else I wanted to get to, and that is some other words that Shaquille O'Neal brought up last night. They showed a highlight, I believe it was at halftime, of Shaquille O'Neal sitting on the sidelines at a Laker game, and he was sitting courtside, and Russell Wilson was going, or Russell Westbrook. Why do I keep doing that? Russell Westbrook. Oh, because my brain's melted. That's why. Russell Westbrook, it goes over to Shaquille O'Neal, and Shaq's just sitting there, and the two are going back and forth. And apparently some people took that as they were having an argument. And Shaq said last night on TNT that what he was actually saying to Russell Westbrook was you got to stop going 100 miles per hour all the time. There's nothing special about somebody who's really, really fast who only goes fast. You got to change pace. And K. Smith jumped right in there, and he goes, that's crazy that you told him that, Shaq, because I was told the same thing as a player. There's nothing special about somebody that just goes 100 miles per hour all the time. You got to change it up. You got to go 30, then 60, then 90, then 100. Like, you got to ramp it up, and you got to change speeds throughout, keep people guessing, get them off balance. That's how you excel in the sport. And I was thinking to myself, in a much broader case, it's kind of like Tyrese Maxey. And this is somebody that's learning the point guard position, but he is so fast and so quick. If he masters that change of speed, and he already has a great knack for changing that speed. He's already got a natural ability to do that. But to master that is going to take time. And if he can master that and not just go 100 miles per hour, then he is going to be something like just remarkably special. And seeing his numbers, they put it up on the screen last night, seeing the numbers jump the way they have jumped from his first to second year in the league. Of course, Ben Simmons isn't here. Of course, he's been thrown into the middle of it, but he has responded amazingly well. And one of the things that I always look at is how you're going to respond to that adversity. Often we talk about it in the media, like we did with Ben Simmons, like you just heard Shaquille O'Neal talk about it. But Tyrese Maxey has responded to the adversity of, hey, man, all of a sudden you're a starting point guard on an NBA team and Joel Embiid's your center. An MVP candidate is your center. An all-time legend already in this franchise is your center. What are you going to do about it to help that guy win? And he has taken the bull by the horns. And I was thinking about it last night in relationship to what Kenny was talking about last night, to what Shaq was talking about last night. If he can master that change of speed as well, he is going to be somebody we're going to be talking about for a long time in this city. And I only hope that we see that play out. I am going to do a chat check, a quick version of the chat check, just to embrace the good people of Philadelphia, the good people of the show, the friends of the show that have stuck with us here. And we're going to get to that in just 1 second. Let me tell you about the great people at BetQL. Ooh, I made a bet the other night. I'm sitting there. My wife's in labor. I'm like, let me make a bet on the game. Let me consult BetQL. What would you know? What did you know? What? I actually hit on Tobias Harris hitting 2 threes the other night. How about that? Hit on that thanks to the good people at BetQL. Download the BetQL app and get the best bets computer model that scans over 350,000 unique bets per week. That's what they do. It's incredible. So you take care of all those prop bets, all those huge bets that you can make. Make sure you're doing it with the best bet recommendation from BetQL. And make sure you can win a couple of bucks for yourself. And you know what? Apply that on an app like the WinView app, for instance. For the great people at WinView, maybe you got friends and family members who think they know everything about sports, right? Maybe challenge them to a WinView contest and see how much they really know about sports. See if they can walk the walk as well as they talk the talk. Download the WinView app right now. It's not a sports book. It's not daily fantasy. It's a social gaming app to see how much fans really know about sports, where you can win real money prizes on challenging your fellow sports fans in a WinView contest. So download the WinView app right now and have yourself a good time. How about the people of PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blog.
E/I.
Shaq just hanging out on the show. Hey, Shaq. I don't know why that's happening.
E/I. Stay on big guys.
I'm not even. All right, we're just getting rid of that. Get out of there. Tons of fun. There we go. All right. So let me tell you about the great people, the WinView. They're fantastic. Make sure you take advantage of that. People, PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. PHLSportsNation.com. And finally, the amazing people of Rothman Orthopaedics, RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman, they hit me up to go courtside. We gave away the courtside tickets in conjunction with Rothman Orthopaedics when I did their podcast a couple of weeks ago. They said, hey, Marc, you want to go to the Sixers game tonight? Sit courtside for the Clippers? That was the bad game. That was a really bad game. The Sixers lost a 26-point lead in that game. However, I had to turn those tickets down because Leonardo was on the way. So I hope the people that went there, they had themselves a good time, other than the fact the Sixers lost. But here's how great Rothman Orthopaedics is. Look at this. See that? Full range of motion in my shoulder thanks to the great people of Rothman Orthopaedics. So make sure you do what I do. Go to the amazing people of Rothman Orthopaedics. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Same day appointments available right now, because Rothman Orthopaedics will get you back to being you with the Rothman approach to orthopedics. Whether it's a fickle knee, a finicky hip, whether your shoulder's acting up, whatever it might be. Check out RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com, the official orthopedic partner of your Sixers, Eagles, and Phillies. All right, let's get into the chat check, ladies and gentlemen. For everybody participating, I appreciate you guys. Mally, thank you. Ben, Cruz, what's going on, Cruz? Sean, thank you so much. Dress down day Friday. This is I got to go up and burp a baby in a minute. So this is the attire I have on. He does have more hair than me already, Mally. That's for sure. Chris, what's going on? If I could, would you? Trev is still a good friend of mine. He absolutely is. Ben Simmons, what's going on? Fuji, what's going on? Thank you. Dan, hello again. Ben, fake chat check a few days ago was truly the best chat check ever. Thank you. I appreciate it. Over under number 3 or Flyers win a game. Oh, over under when baby number 3 arrives or the Flyers actually win a game. We'll get to that press conference more in depth a little bit later on later in the show, like in the next week or so. But thank you for that. I appreciate it. Matt, appreciate you. Matt, Rob, what's going on? Wilson too. Yeah, we'll get Wilson too. Not just Westbrook, but also Russell Wilson. No button-up shirt with the button loose. Sorry, folks. Sorry. I'm a father of 2 now. I got to dress respectable. That means a hoodie. Anyway. Evan, what's going on? The weight of Leo. Leo was 8'3". He was 8 pounds 3 ounces and tall. The measurables are disputable. We got a doctor's appointment today. We'll hopefully get a little bit more information there. Mute. What the? Shaq a hack? No, Shaq's not a hack. I like Shaq a lot. Buddy T, what's going on? Rick says he thinks my hands could just generate burp after burp after burp. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I do have some banana hands. You're absolutely right there. Again, Leonardo is a name that my wife just really, really liked. Lou, I didn't mention this earlier. Lou is my late uncle. So my dad is 16 years younger than his oldest brother, my Uncle Sonny, my Uncle Lou. And there were 4 boys, the Farzetta brothers. There were 4 boys, and Uncle Sonny was 16 years older than my dad. So my dad always really looked up to Uncle Sonny, and Uncle Sonny passed away some years ago, about 12 years ago. And he was just a great man. He was a great man. I always remember his demeanor and his presence in my family was awesome, and it's never been rivaled. And I wanted my son to have a little bit of that. So Lou is his middle name from his Uncle Lou. And Lou is also a family name in the Farzetta. I got a cousin Lou. I had an Uncle Lou. My great-grandfather is Luigi. That was actually my daughter, Emanuela, is named after her. It would be my great-grandmother. So big into family names. And there's no Leonardo's in the family. So when I always said Leonardo, I'm like, what, are we starting a pizza shop? Anyway, so Leonardo Lou Farzetta is here. And just one last time, thank you so much for everybody that reached out. It really means a lot to me and my wife and my family. Thank you for all the support, guys. I'll be back with you guys as often live as possible over the next couple of weeks. And I will make sure I keep you guys abreast of that situation on social media. So thank you for everyone that reached out. You guys are fantastic. Yes, it's supposed to snow like hell. I just saw that in the comments as well. Thanks, everybody. I love you. I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. PJ, thanks for producing the show today. Thanks for being flexible. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. Everyone, my name is Marc Farzetta. One last time. There we go. There he is. And one last time, the greatest thing I've ever seen right there. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take it easy.